I mean, how does seeing Robbie's growth over the last 26 years, what does that mean to you?
Over the last 26 years. So when he was 2.5, he was early diagnosed, and by the time he was 4, we were told, you need to make plans for him long term. He's not going to be self-sufficient. He will never regular school. You better start planning. And to see now that he basically almost lives on his own for the most part, holds a job, has friends, interactions, social life, and is just a productive adult in the community. That's huge. He's active in his church life. He's active at Merrimack, which is a phenomenal center here in town that is greatly needed. We're so blessed to be a part of it.
And so you guys do, a lot of this together. You support Robbie with writing his books and going to conferences and speaking to people. Why do you think it is so important to talk about this?
It's very important. It's our part to give back. We wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't find families when Robbie was young that could tell us, okay, 10 years, when he was 2, we needed someone who was like 12. And then, okay, we need someone who was like 15. So we could maybe see what was lying ahead for us. And there are no 2 kids alike, but to be able to pick apart and go, okay, I see a little of that, or I see a little of this. It's now our turn to turn around and do that, and to encourage parents and families and teachers and therapists to, like Robbie says, not give up. What you do makes a difference in these kids' life, and it's not just our kids' life, because these children grow up to be adults in the community, and so it's a service to all of us, so that they can be, functioning adults in our community.
And it is Autism Awareness Week, so what do you think is the most important thing for people who maybe aren't that familiar with autism or aren't friends with anyone with autism? What is important for them to know and learn?
If they're like me, when we first heard the word autism with Robbie, we thought Rain Man. That's all we knew. And I think that's common for most people. They think, what they know from movies or something. And it's not. There's a spectrum now, and it is a huge range, and you're never going to find 2 kids alike. So you may have one neighbor, but then your friend's child is going to be different than that neighbor. So don't stereotype anybody. Don't stereotype the disorder in any way. And don't think that just because they can't communicate with you, or you can't understand them, that they don't understand everything you're saying. So when you're talking under your breath or you're making gestures, their perspective, and they're hearing it and processing all of it.
Yeah. And then what advice do you have for parents if they newly found out that their child has autism?
They're very fortunate right now because there's so much available as opposed to 26 years ago when we did it. What was best for us is we got them into social, role playing or social situations. So don't isolate them. Don't self-contain your child at all. School systems here are phenomenal. Huntsville is so blessed with amazing school system that is supportive and pushes and challenges our kids to be the best they can be. So take advantage of those resources. There are schools here now that specialize in ABA program. The Riley Center is phenomenal. Take advantage of that service here in town. And when you think you can't do any more, you have to push yourself and do more, because you're going to think, I can't fit one more therapy session in, but you can. And so do it, because it will pay off. It will pay off.
Yeah. And then tell me a little bit about, we were talking about when I was interviewing Robbie, the impact he has on other people with autism. Like, they might read his book and be like, wow, he can do this, I can do that. Yeah. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
We mentioned it earlier. The impact I've seen the strongest with Robbie when we go to conferences and speak, most of them are educational conferences. And probably the biggest review we've had is that people think that every teacher should read this book. And I do agree, because he gives the voice to what they aren't able to comprehend, because they don't have a way of communicating it. And we've been to conferences, and teachers do. I mean, you know, they have a lot of kids. It's a lot of challenge. I mean, to be able to maintain it, and a lot of them have some rough years, and they're always like, I don't know if I can do another year. I don't know if I can do another year. And when we go speak and we have them come up afterwards in tears saying, I can do another year because I'm not going to give up. Like, you know, because him telling them that what they do makes a difference. And we're able to show video footage of Robbie when he was 3 and 4 with no language and just jibber jabber and very obsessive compulsive behavior. And then they actually see him standing there, you know, it's completely, you know, just to see the, you know, it's one thing to tell you this is how he was, but we actually have the video footage to support it and to show them, you know, and they're like, yeah, those are the kids in my class. I have 22 of those in my class right there. And then go, wow, so they can be like Robbie. They can stand up here in front of us and not fidget and be, you know, just whole conversations. Wow, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's the most important message we can get across is never give up. Just keep pushing, keep pushing.
Yeah. I mean, would it be hard to believe when he was 2 and was diagnosed that he'd be like how he is now?
I always hope, you know, you still always, because you have to have hope. Don't ever lose hope. Yeah, I would hope, you know, I always hoped he'd be, you know, as typical as any other child. But there are many, many times you were just like, we're never going to get there. This child, you know, Robbie was 5 years old before he ever said mom, you know, where I could hear it. But I could understand half his language because I could just, I had a way of communicating with me. I knew what his unts and grunts meant, you know. Moms do. It's just a mom thing. But now, I mean, he'll call me at work and go, Mom, this movie's coming out and this is who's going to play in it and it's going to be here and, you know, we're going to go see this, or did you know this person? I mean, you just go, I don't have to be like, Robbie, I'm at work. I'll have to talk to you when I get home. Never thought, you know, tell my child to be quiet.
That's awesome. What else do you think is just important for people to know with anything with this topic or with Robbie?
I think it's important for our community with autism and the spectrum disorder, because of the high numbers of it, to understand that the whole community needs to help us. So if you own a business or you work somewhere where you have that odd job that you can, you know, give our children. You know, Robbie's fortunate to have a job, and he has so many friends on the spectrum that don't have that opportunity. And there are jobs these individuals can do, and they'll do it better than anybody else. You know, checking your tickets at the movie theater, that's a perfect job, you know. And if you clean in the theaters, because you'll show them how to clean it once, and it'll be done every time. And that's another great resource we have in town. It's called Open Door. And I've never seen a company that does this, but they help job skill and life skill these young adults with autism. I mean, that's amazing to have that resource here. And so, if you know, if your business or you think you have an opportunity, reach out to Open Door and they'll help you come in and train them for you. And we hear this all the time. The opportunities that Robbie given are a blessing to us, but we're realizing that the people that he's around, it's a bigger blessing to them, that they actually really receive more out of it because they're able to go home and appreciate the things they have a little more.